Blogtalk Radio.
For the next couple of hours, join us as we explore the imagination, the intuition, the inner realm, the inner world, winding our way into our discovery of the fifth dimension. What it is, what it means, how it looks, how it feels. Discovering new, broader perspectives of life as humans on the earthly plane. A journey within, a journey into a new, yet ancient frontier. A journey into the heart, the journey of our lifetimes. So please allow reason to coexist with your intuition, with inspiration, with your imagination. Then join me in the discovery of more and more of ourselves. I promise you a journey unlike any other. Let us together explore the mystical, the amazing, the magnificent world of heart-based living in the fifth dimension. Welcome to the Consciousness Evolution with your host, Malcolm. And welcome to the Consciousness Evolution Hour. If you're already tuned in, I'm going to just briefly tell you that the show accidentally was set to start about 5 minutes early. As you can see, it's 6 minutes to 9. So what I'm going to do is talk briefly about the folks doing the Peace March out in Colorado on their way to the West Coast, and then at 9 o'clock or at the top of the hour, I'm going to replay the intro, and we're going to start from scratch, sort of. So I apologize for the confusion, but hang on. I'll give you a little update on our folks out in Colorado who are doing the America World Walk for Peace. This is Jason B. Intricate Brierly, and he's got his band of merry pranksters. There are actually a number of people that have joined him and are doing a peace march from city to city, starting in Denver. They started last Friday and are on their way to the West Coast. They have no particular path and no particular direction other than they're heading west. And what they're doing as they go along is they're meeting with less fortunate people in these cities and those destitute, homeless, and they are, whatever money they can collect through donations, they are providing help and support to the people that they come into contact with who are in need. And if nothing more than to bring a smile to someone's face, to share their love, to show these people that they care. And it's a wonderful undertaking, but what these folks desperately need is basics. They need camping gear, they need shoes, they need dry foods like jerky and nuts and berries, water. They need an occasional ride. If you are anywhere between Denver and Boulder City, I believe, I'm trying to remember the name of the town they were heading into, but I believe it was between those two cities. They are headed there now. Boy, if you give me 1 second, let me find it. You can always find stuff on Facebook except when you're looking for it. Bear with me. Oh, here we go. They are heading into the town of Nederland, Nederland, Colorado. So if you're anywhere near there in Colorado and you can help these folks out, even if it's just coming by with some bottles of water or something like that, I know they would greatly appreciate it. And just get in contact with me on Facebook and let me know, and I'll put you in touch with Jason. I think there's about a dozen of them, or maybe more at this point, who are making this trek, and it's a worthy, wonderful cause. These people are doing it out of love and out of excitement, and I sure would love to have everyone support them. So Now that I've yacked for a few minutes, we got a few minutes left, and I'm going to replay the intro, and then we're going to go into announcements and bring on our special guest for tonight. Jason also has a book available on Amazon, and it's called Wasted Youth Remembers. It's a book of poetry. Jason is an amazing, amazing poet, writes from the heart, very passionate, wonderful, wonderful writings. He is our poet in residence at the Consciousness Evolution 2.0 group on Facebook. We absolutely love it when he shares his work with us. This book is available on Amazon. It's 99 cents for Kindle. You can also read it web-based. And every penny that is spent on this book, Jason has dedicated it to the people that they come in contact with as they come into these cities on their peace march. So anything you can do to help, get in touch with me, and I'll put you in touch with Jason. We'll see how we can get some stuff to them. They need camping gear, dried foods like jerky and fruit, peanuts, nuts, medical supplies, shoes, I'm sure. If anyone wants to ride along with them for a day, I'm sure they'd love to creep along and have a seat for a while. So anything that you can do to support is greatly appreciated. Okay, well, we're at the top of the hour, so pardon me for a moment. We're going to replay the intro, and then we're going to bring on our special guest, and we'll do our announcements and start the show. So thanks for your patience, and be back with you in a minute. For the next couple of hours, join us as we explore the imagination, the intuition, the inner realm, the inner world, winding our way into our discovery of the fifth dimension. What it is, what it means, how it looks, how it feels. Discovering new, broader perspectives of life as humans on the earthly plane. A journey within, a journey into a new, yet ancient frontier. A journey into the heart, the journey of our lifetimes. So please allow reason to coexist with your intuition, with inspiration, with your imagination. Then join me in the discovery of more and more of ourselves. I promise you a journey unlike any other. Let us together explore the mystical, the amazing, the magnificent world of heart-based living in the fifth dimension. Welcome to the Consciousness Evolution Hour with your host, Malika. And welcome to the Consciousness Evolution Hour. This is Philip Malika, and I'm here tonight as part of the ENlightenment Evolution Network that was started by Rob Gauthier, proudly presented as such. I'm thrilled to be here tonight, very excited, of course, to do these shows on Thursday night, and I am especially excited to have with me as a special guest tonight Sharon McCormick, who is the co-founder of the Hybrid Children community. As well as contributing to the Hybrid Children website and Facebook pages, Sharon has conducted Hybrid Children workshops in both Southern and Northern California and in Sedona. She is now heading to Texas in a few days to help spread the word about the children there, and in June she'll be teletransporting. I need to find out what that is, Sharon. She'll be teletransporting to Europe to participate in workshops in both Holland and Norway with members of the STAR Global family. Sharon loves the hybrid kids. I do too. I'm so excited. We both have stories to share. This is a topic that I am very excited about. I have personal experience in, and I'm so thrilled to have Sharon on the program. And are you there with us, Sharon?
I am indeed. Hey, Philip.
Hello, how are you tonight?
I'm excellent. How are you?
Excellent. We've been looking forward to this all week. I told Sharon earlier that the kids have been tugging at my pant legs all week. Come on, we want to do the show. So we're going to do a few announcements, Sharon, and then we'll come back and pick up where we left off here. And so bear with me. We'll be right back with you.
Great.
All right. So this has now officially launched the Enlightenment Evolution Network. Rob Gauthier, founder of the Enlightenment Evolution Network and the host of the show that started it all, the Enlightenment Evolution Hour, is putting together the greatest metaphysical radio network ever. We will shortly have a show on every day of the week for your listening and enlightening pleasure. Starting off on Mondays at 9:30 Eastern Time, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Time, we have one of my favorite people host. We have Heart to Heart Talk Radio with Daniel Scranton. Join Daniel and his featured guests discussing a wide variety of metaphysical topics. Daniel also channels the Creators, the Hathors, Ophelia the Fairy, just love Ophelia, and newly, the latest one is Archangel Michael. Daniel and his guests will take phone calls and questions and is sure to generate high-frequency discussions. You can find more information about Daniel at his website, danielscranton.com, and also on Facebook. In particular, you can look for Daniel at his own webpage. He has a page for all of the various the Creators and the Hathors and Ophelia, and he also posts daily on our Consciousness Evolution 2.0 Facebook group. If you're not there, look us up. We have wonderful posts. You can see Daniel's posts. I read his posts with my his channelings with my coffee every morning, and it starts my day off always on the right foot. I swear he is a fly on my wall somewhere, because it's like he always knows intuitively what's going on with me, and it's always very profound and very relevant to whatever is happening with me. It's uncanny, folks, absolutely uncanny how Daniel nails the energy. So you can find him on his website, also at danielscranton.com. Go to the Events tab on Daniel's website to learn about his next live Q&A session with the Archangel Michael, which should be very good. I've seen a few of the most recent channelings from Archangel Michael, and his upcoming live event in Ojai, California. Also in November, Daniel is taking part in a 3-day Mexico cruise where he will be doing classes. So look on the details tab, details on the events tab at danielscranton.com. And Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific, the show that started it all, the Enlightenment Evolution Hour with Rob Gauthier. Rob channels Treb on the first Wednesday of each month, and they will take callers' questions. And on the third Wednesday, we'll have special guests such as guest channelers and other metaphysical teachers. The other 2 Wednesdays are freestyle call-in shows to discuss whatever callers have on their minds. This month, on May 21st, Rob's special guest will be Sharon Swanson, the channel of Yeshua Yael. And I'm looking forward to that very much. I've listened to a number of channelings from Yeshua, and I know Sean has been out to visit you, has he not, Sharon?
Yes, they were here. He was here to do an event at Angel Valley, and he came out to Hybrid Children Headquarters, and we had a really lovely afternoon.
Oh, how nice. Well, that's wonderful. Well, he's going to be on Rob's show on May 21st. And one other announcement for Rob of particular excitement is that Rob and Treb are going to be featured in the upcoming film, Tuning In, Spirit Channelers of America, Part 3. If you have seen Tuning In Parts 1 and 2, they were wonderful, wonderful movies. The first one featured Daryl Ankin Bashar, featured Cryon, Lee Carroll and Cryon, and a number of other channelers, Wendy Kennedy. I know I'm forgetting a bunch, but that was a wonderful movie. You can find Part 1 on YouTube, I know right now. Part 2 I'm having difficulty coming across, but Part 3 is upcoming, and a Kickstarter campaign actually began today to fund the film by the director of Parts 1 and 2. So tune into Rob Wednesday night, and you can also find him at trebchanneling.com, TREB channeling.com, and on Facebook at the Enlightenment Evolution Network group page. Look for that. Get in touch with me. Get in touch with Rob at trebchanneling.com if you're interested in the Kickstart campaign to help fund this movie. And it's very exciting. There's going to be a number of people from the first two movies in it as well. This is a wonderful development, and we're so looking forward to it. Wonderful energy for Rob, and I'm so pleased for him. Okay, and of course Thursday nights is us. You're going to get a load of that, so I won't waste any more time on that. Friday nights coming, we'll have Kalina Angel hosting the Earth Experience. Kalina will be exploring our soul's expansion through our human experiences on Earth, certain to be very informative and enlightening about our manifestation as new fifth-dimensional beings. Dates and times to be announced soon, and that was beings, not beings. Okay. I just want to be clear about that. We would all love to be a fifth-dimensional being, but, All right. Enough of that. Okay, and we are very close to announcing some more hosts and shows, so please keep your ears to the ground. I know of a couple that are in the works right now that are very close that I am extremely excited about. So pay attention and keep tuning into the shows, and we'll get that information out to you shortly. All right. I think that's all our announcements for now. So, Sharon, let's bring you on. Let's start chatting.
Okay, here I am.
Now, we both have a history of sorts with Bashar, who kind of brought this information to us, or rather, we reflected this information from Bashar back to ourselves. And this actually is the 5th anniversary of your meeting with Bashar, is it not?
Yes, May 1st, absolutely.
My goodness.
2009.
And how did that come about?
A friend of mine that I'd known for 35 years, Karen Dunleavy, she came back she'd moved away from LA and came back clutching CDs of Bashar. You got to listen to this guy. You got to listen to this guy. And it was like, ever since I've known her, she's like been obsessed with abductions, but I just thought she was like eccentric, right? But then I did listen to him, and the very night, May 1st, 2009, that night, I in the middle of the night, I felt someone lying behind me, and I was sleeping alone at a conference in Santa Barbara, and my eyes flew open, and I saw and I felt E.T. arms holding me, and it was like, oh no, I better check this out more. And then Bashar is like, changed my life, literally changed my life. Oh. So I love him.
Oh my gosh, what a great story. So that's an amazing experience. Now, did you have any background, a metaphysical background prior to that, or had you had any experiences or a spiritual background? Where did you come from on this?
I had a vision of Jesus when I was 12, and that was it. And then I guess in the 90s, I started exploring after, years of hippiedom and God is dead stuff. And it was Course in Miracles and Essene Book of Days, and then Conversations with God is what tipped me over. So
that seems to do it for a lot of people who come from the layman area of spirituality. That really puts them over the edge. Yes,
well, it was I literally raced through the original trilogy,
yes.
And by the end of it, it was like highly evolved civilizations. That can only mean ETs. Oh my gosh, they're real. So
Right. So let's do a little background on the hybrid children, and I'm going to give my brief outline of what I know. I actually have followed this quite a bit, but really I got dragged kicking and screaming, first of all, into the ET experience. It was not on my radar 4 years ago. In fact, I listened to Bashar. I remember the first couple of times I listened to him, I thought he was a gruff, pompous jerk. Because he comes off like that sometimes. But I had an experience where I was meditating, and I had asked what my origin was. And I had a background at that time only of really Seth and Abraham. I started with Abraham, and then I started reading the Seth books. And of course, Seth talks about off-world beings and talks about visitors, and he left no doubt that it certainly did occur, but that was not Seth's primary focus in his books. So I was aware, and I, kind of had a soft heart about it. I figured, I really enjoyed everything that Seth had to say, and more than enjoyed it, it was a transformational journey for me. So I had a background, at least in a basic understanding of it, and I was meditating one night, and I asked what my origin was. And the word that came back to me was Lyra. And I had never heard the term before. I didn't know what it meant, but it was very clear to me that that was my answer. I knew that that was my answer. I just had no idea what to make of it. It didn't mean anything to me. So I went and did a Google search, of course, and the only Lyra I knew of was Italian currency. And the second thing that came up in my Google search, since I typed it wrong, I had the sound right, but I had typed it wrong. So the second thing that came up in my search was the Lyran constellation. And then the next thing that came up in my search was Lisa Royal Holt and her writings and channelings about Lyrans and the other alien races, and the Lyran constellation, and the Prism of Lyra was the book that they wrote, and I went, holy cow, oh boy, did I stumble onto something here. So I just devoured everything I could find out about it, and by that time, I gave Bashar a second chance, and I realized that was just his loving way of cajoling us sometimes, but mostly just imparting that's just his personality, being the hybrid that he is. And but I did begin to feel the energy of his very loving presence, and so I started listening to Bashar again. And I did find that everything that Bashar said was completely in line with what I knew from Seth. So from my standpoint, the ET was just like a bonus thing. It was like icing on the cake. If I could get the Seth information, and then I had this knowledge that there was something more to me than just being a human, boy, that just started to all fall together for me. And then, of course, I started getting information on the hybrid children. Okay. So maybe, Sharon, that you could give us a background on what the hybrid children actually are.
They are literally hybrids. They are a combination of human and ET. My particular program, primarily gray, but there are hybrids from all the other civilizations. The people who talk about abductions, some people don't like that word. I don't prefer it myself, but it's the generally accepted term. The soul agreement that we all made before coming into this lifetime to participate in the hybrid program. The ETs made a soul agreement, the humans made a soul agreement, and literally these children have been created from the DNA, the genetics, the energetic imprints, the mentoring, all of that. And they are the ones who are coming to Earth, not all of them will be, of course, but the ones who will be are very much in contact with the parents now, and more human parents are waking up to the fact that the kids are real and that they're excited about coming, and we have to do our work before they can arrive.
Yes, indeed. And I think we're going to do a great deal of that and getting the information out there tonight in the two of us talking about it. I know I've been very excited about this because, as we mentioned, even in spiritual metaphysical company, we were laughing before the show, and I said, that I can sit there with spiritual people and I can sit there with ET people, and they can buy all of that, But when I say hybrid children, man, I just see the wall go up. It's just like, you know what? I can buy all that other stuff, but I can't buy that.
Not the kids.
Right.
No. Well, that they are, the whole abduction thing has been so fear-based for decades.
Oh yes.
And
well, from what my understanding is, abductions have happened for as long as we've been here.
Yes, yes.
So this isn't something that just started in the 50s. Maybe this particular program, but the Greys have the ability, if I'm not mistaken, to time travel, or what we would consider time travel, to move interdimensionally, and that they very well have gone to other timelines as well as our own, and taken through a cooperative effort, acquired DNA, which is now part of this hybrid program. Is that correct?
That's my understanding as well, yes.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of the decade thing, I just meant, my part in it.
Right.
I think since the end of World War II, after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the ETs went, oops. They really are going to annihilate themselves. We better move a little faster here.
Right.
And but also the whole family line thing. I mean, I won't go into the whole thing, but I asked Bashar once if my mother was part of the hybridization program after explaining to him one particular event. Yes. And he said, I believe you have a saying on your planet. Duh.
Oh, my God, really?
So, whether my mother has an inkling or not. She's a part of it.
Well, it's not surprising. And, of course, the more I understand about this, you begin to remember, because according to Bashar, I believe it's 1 in 3 of us are involved in this program. 1 in 3 of the humans living on Earth today have been involved in this hybrid children program, and to varying degrees. Now, let me ask you something, Sharon, and this is something I think I know the answer to. Does the hybridization, the actual, I know that it's being genetically done, but is it also being done through actual physical coupling?
That's my understanding, that some of it is, extraction of DNA or actual eggs and sperm. Some of it is energetic. Some of it is actual coupling. Some of it is simply the creation of the kids, yes. There are also people who, from my understanding, who go out on the ships at night in dream time simply to mentor the kids or teach the classes. So that there are all ways to be involved. Yes,
indeed. I know that I have. I'm on those ships quite often, and I have people tell me they've seen me on the ships all the time, which I always love. It's funny because to me in my dreams, it's usually like a university. And a lot of people have these dreams of these gathering places, and because we are interpreting the experience that we had, we often will paint what we call our dreams. We will paint familiar faces on circumstances or events or people or beings that we meet. So, for instance, I had a dream the other night where there was this 7-foot Amazon woman in my dream. But, to me, it was perfectly normal, and I just painted a human face on it. But when I woke up in the morning, I went, you know what? That wasn't a human.
Nice 7-foot your neighbor.
Yeah, right. I mean, I might have painted a pretty picture on it, but and not that they weren't pretty, but I painted a human picture of this being was not human. So I have a great many, in fact, I love my dreams. I love sleeping because I know that I'm doing so much work in the dream state. And I really think even the term, I don't even like the term dream or dream state, because people have a preconceived notion of what that is, but we are literally leaving our bodies at night and doing all kinds of things in all kinds of places that are not here on Earth.
Right.
Yeah, and what we do, of course, what we call our dreaming, is when we come back from these excursions, we translate what we can of our experience into a familiar Earth-based, 3D-based experience. Now, some people are fortunate enough to come back and be able to recognize that they were on a spaceship. Generally speaking, mine look more like a university or a casino or something like that, where a bunch of people are gathered of all the crazy things. Well, the casino's always in the basement, so I guess that's where everyone goes to relax after the, class.
Right, recess.
Right, exactly. Okay, so, well, that's all real interesting. And, the hybrid children themselves, of course, and I agree with you that I don't like the term abduction. I prefer to look at it as a cooperative effort because, of course, well, not of course, a lot of people wonder about this. What we have termed abductions, and I'm just going to spell this out for everybody, has been taking place most prominently since about the 50s, I would say, post-World War II. And what this is, and I'm going to reiterate what Sharon said about it, is that we, on another level of our consciousness, or a pre-soul agreement, or people will call it all different things, we agreed to enter this program with the Greys. Now, would you like to give us a quick background on the Greys, Sharon, what exactly they are? Because they're not strictly or specifically, they're not aliens, are they?
Right. Apparently they are mutated humans, making them extraterrestrial but not alien to the human species.
Oh, this is getting better all the time.
And they mutated themselves over and over and over again. As they developed their brains and their technology, they sort of lost the ability to reproduce. So they have come into our timeline because the DNA is very similar and compatible. And with the soul agreements on both sides, it's win-win as far as I'm concerned, because my part in this is that the kids will come and be part of the revitalization of the Earth, of the resuscitation of Gaia, however you want to look at it. That I consider the kids an integral part of that, and that's my joy to take part in it. And then the Greys get to not die out themselves. So I think it's win-win.
Oh, without question. Now, and the way Bashar puts it, that the Greys actually learned a way to tunnel into our dimension or into our universe, yes?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, multi-dimensionally or they found a way. So they're actually in a parallel universe to Earth. And for those of you who are not familiar with the concept, I'm going to give you a quick set background on what a parallel universe is. Every moment, every event, every circumstance, we choose what we recognize as the official history of that moment. In other words, we say, oh, in this moment I did this. What we don't realize is that not only does what we chose to do in that moment occur, but every possible variation of that moment occurs also in a parallel universe. So every moment, every possibility exists. And we, as humans, as God creators that we are, simply choose which of those perspectives of that moment we recognize as official. And that's the one that we write down in our books, and we say, this is the official history for this day. This is what I did. Okay, but what we don't understand is that it all happens, every possibility, every probability happens, and we can simply move from parallel universe to parallel universe. And this is, by the way, how you can change the past from the present. You can just choose a different probability of a past event. But we won't get into that now. That's a whole nother show. But I do love the way that works. So what I'm trying to get to with this is that there are worlds that exist in universes that exist in the same what we would consider the same physical space that we occupy. Now, this idea just blows the mind.
Yep.
Wow. So in this physical, so the Greys, getting back to where we came from on this, the Greys actually live in a parallel universe. And they found a way to come into ours. Now, as part of their development, and you mentioned that they lost their ability to reproduce, a couple other things occurred as well. If I recall correctly, they managed to somehow destroy their world, yes?
That's what I understand, yes.
Yeah. So somehow, with whatever they did, they really screwed up. And there, but for the grace of God, go I, and I have a lot of compassion for them. These are humans in every sense of the word, but they are mutated. They are different than us, and they exist in a parallel universe. And then the other thing that I was going to say that really has a lot to do with the abductions and the fear that is built up in the abductions, and I think it's very important that we speak about this, is that the Greys also, shall I say, developed or lost their ability to sense emotion. And not completely, and maybe I didn't put that quite right, but what I'm trying to get at, maybe you can help me out with this, Sharon, is they don't have the emotional base that we have. Is there a better way you can think of to put that?
No, that's my understanding, but also my understanding that as the program has become more and more exponentially public and recognized, that in terms of changing the past, that they have been learning from us Earth humans and from the kids themselves to reincorporate emotion into their existence.
Absolutely, and that is, they have learned as they've gone along and through observing us and as you said, observing the kids and working with, as this program has continued on, the Greys have learned a lot more about emotion. But what I will call early on in this program, this hybridization program, particularly in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, they used to scare the bejesus out of people.
Yes.
Because they didn't understand what fear was. And in fact, my understanding is that they actually used fear because fear when a human being is in great fear, they basically become paralyzed like an opossum might. Right. It's like playing possum. And so you hear about people who talk about, they woke up but they were paralyzed. And something was going on, and oftentimes in the abductions, people will talk about being conscious but feeling paralyzed, can't move, can't speak. This is a natural human reaction to fear. It's very similar to an opossum, in what we call playing possum. Mm. So early on, the Greys, and again, this is my understanding, and I could be wrong, but the Greys kind of used that fear response in humans to make us, easier to deal with, while they were doing what we had already agreed to do with them, which was to aid them in this hybridization program. But what it had the tendency to do was, and what the Greys quickly found out, was that it created a very negative series of energy around the whole thing, and it made humans distrustful, because humans, in our three-dimensional state, we didn't remember having made these types of agreements, because it was made on a different level, on a higher conscious level or a soul level, that we made the agreement to join this program with the Greys.
Right.
So this caused a great deal of fear in humans, and a great deal of our media reflects it. And I know that people like you and Bridget and the Yael people are doing a great job, and I am trying to as well, to turn this around, to get people to have a better understanding of this whole abduction scenario.
Yes, I believe all of that, but I also understand that the paralysis thing.
Yes.
That if we humans fought against it, that we could spin off into some other dimension where and not end up where the Greys and we agreed to go, and so that's also part of the paralysis.
Oh, that wouldn't be good, would it?
Yeah, it's like if we go out of control and they lose us, we have no way to get back. We have no idea how to get back.
Oh, my goodness.
That they do intentionally paralyze us.
Oh, yeah.
But in terms of the fear thing, it's understandable if, you wake up on a table of, cold metal table somewhere you've never been. I think part of it is a disinformation campaign.
Yes.
But the understandable fear, I think, can be overcome when people understand that it's for the good, it's for everyone's good, and that the kids love us so much. They're so high vibe. They're so high frequency. They're so conscious. They're so loving, and they really, really want us to get it because they want to come.
Yeah, right. Well, I really just wanted to talk about the fear-based stuff briefly, because this really is something that everyone is going to have to take a look at within themselves. At this point, I've had enough experience with it, and I have enough knowledge about the off-world races and the Greys, and I also have an intuitive notion that I have been involved in this program. I'm beginning to remember various events from my past where it's apparent to me that I had lost time, and though I don't have details about it, I have a pretty good idea. And there were other reasons why I felt like I had been involved in parenting. I had been involved in the raising of the kids and tutoring and caring for. Some of the dreams that I have are very obvious in this way, and I don't think it's a coincidence that's the case. Mm-hmm. So I'm quite proud of my participation in this.
Yes,
Sharon.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, and I think as we move further into this and people get more information about it, they'll start to feel more comfortable about it too, because we really are making an incredible leap for mankind. Now, I do want to say this, and I promise this will be the last negative thing I say. I just want to get these things out in the open, because I know these are the questions that people are going to have. Mm-hmm. And one of them is that, I'm sorry, completely lost the question. We'll get back to it.
Okay. I get that.
What were we talking about?
Fear.
Yes, fear. Oh, goodness. What was it?
It's all right. It'll come to you.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah.
All right, so I would like to hear about, you actually had a session with Rob Gauthier and Treb.
Yes. Rob says that Treb can go out, and sometimes if you have some specific being you'd like to talk to, that Treb is quite good within parameters of connecting with another being and then bringing that being through Rob. And my oldest daughter, Shay, she actually, according to Anima, who is Bashar's female counterpart, my oldest daughter had chosen my name because she'd already told me that she takes care of all the other of my kids, but then Anima confirmed it, which was like, whoa, that's cool.
Wow.
But anyway, she chose my name because she is temporary mommy, big sister to all, as Anima put it. But I call her Shay, just so I don't call her Sharon, because Anima says Sharon. Her name is Shay.
Oh.
Anyway, I asked Rob to ask Treb if I could talk to Shay. This was like just a few weeks ago.
Oh.
And there she came, and it was so moving and so profound, and it was like, she told me all about their planet and what they do and the songs they sing and the, consciousness moving where they explore their whole, universe, their galaxy, and, things about the other kids. And it was amazing. And it was she kept calling me Mother. She says, yes, Mother.
Aw, isn't that
sweet.
cute?
She was so sweet. And the other thing that really cracked me up, it was like she kept saying, and the beautiful reptilian being is Treb. In half an hour. She said it like 3 times. And
well, you just got to love that reptile, don't you?
Absolutely. I love Treb.
Oh, my God.
Afterwards, it was like, I thought about it, and I thought, how funny is that Rob and I, 2 humans, have connected 2 star beings who never would have met otherwise.
Oh, my God.
I thought that was cool.
That is really cool. The way this energy is moving around and bringing all this other information to us, I love being in this position that I'm in, and I know you do too. It's so heartwarming to have this kind of information coming into us, and to be in a place where we can take a perspective of it that allows us to appreciate how wonderful it all is. Mm-hmm. Oh, and I just remember what I was going to say. Let's assume that there are people out there that want absolutely no part in this.
Okay.
They have no obligation, nor will any of this be apparent to them.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you'd like to say something about that. I'll give my 2 cents, is that we each choose which world we inhabit. Okay. Because there are literally billions of parallel universes. And whatever frequency we are operating at, we are going to be connected to those worlds that match our frequency.
Right.
So we can choose to stay in a lower frequency that does not include what we'll call the Hybrid Children program.
Okay.
So I just wanted to throw that out there, that if you don't want to have anything to do with this, you don't have to.
Of course.
But for those of us who find it exciting and thrilling and a wonderful, wonderful path to our future, oh my God, it's so exciting. And it's not like we're going to get tossed out and trampled on, are we, Sharon? What are we going to do?
We're going to love them.
We are going to love them. And we're going to be the guides and the teachers that we have now in our Bashars and our Abrahams and our Seths.
All right.
We will become those guides and teachers to those that are to come.
Mm. And they'll be teaching us as well.
Oh, well, you never stop learning.
Yes.
We're never a finished product.
No.
Nope, we're not. Hey, Sharon, we've got a couple callers on the line. How would you like to take a call?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, here's a caller from the 202 area code. Who do we have on with us tonight?
Hi, I'm Jen.
Hi, Jen.
Hi.
Hi, Jen.
Hello, Sharon. I got a question for you. Just over a year ago, I became really super interested in aliens and the supernatural, and I have no idea where that came from. And I found out about the hybrid children, but so I'm really interested in all this, but I don't think that I myself have ever been a part of the abduction program, and I don't think I have hybrid children. I don't have any memories of abduction. I don't have anything in dream state. But I'm super interested in this anyway, and I was wondering if there's any way that I can connect with somebody else's hybrid children. I mean, I just would love to, somehow get to know them, even though I don't think I'm a hybrid parent.
Oh, Jen, you probably already are.
Yes, Jen. What we have found is that anyone who's drawn to the material, it's like 99.9% positive that you are in some way involved. And that doesn't mean, as I said earlier, that you have genetic direct children yourself. But if you're interested in the topic, then you're definitely involved. And there are I have one daughter, Daisy, and other people, my friends dream about her. She sort of drags other people around the room, showing them the children's books. She talks to a lot of people besides me. So do you feel in touch with any of the other dimensional beings, whether they're the kids or not?
No, I must admit I have a really hard time meditating. Again, I'm really new to all of this, and I'm not sure if this is the correct terminology. I'm not sure if I've raised my vibration high enough or something, but to really connect with other beings. But I mean, I'd love to learn, and ultimately someday connect with the hybrid kids because I think they're cool.
They are cool, and there are lots of different ways that you can. If you don't meditate, that's fine. You can, if you're really interested, you can just conjure up one particular kid. It doesn't have to have a name given to the girl or boy, just a 4-year-old boy or a 9-year-old girl, and then choose a symbol. For a long time, Shay, my oldest daughter, and I used a pink rose to communicate, but it can be, a flashlight, a teacup, a Harry Potter book, whatever. And as you go to sleep each night, to visualize the symbol and ask to communicate with the kid. And if you do that for a week or 3 weeks or whatever, see if you get anything. And the one thing the kids keep saying over and over and over again is play, 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 play. Dance, do artwork of what you think one of the kids might look like. Go for a walk and talk to a kid. Anything, just joy, joy, joy. That's what they're all about.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, cool. I'll try that. Thank you so much.
Perfectly said. Oh, and Jen, I was going to suggest to you too. I have a real challenge meditating as well. But what I've found myself is that anytime I'm doing something that excites me, that I'm excited about and focused in, like Sharon said, artwork or anything that allows you to express your inner being and bring that energy through, that's almost, it's basically the same thing as meditating, because what you're doing is you're allowing energy to flow through you. Because as energetic beings, this is what we do. We flow energy through us, and when we're excited and when we're feeling love in our hearts, when we're living in our heart space, that energy flows freely through us. But I thought Sharon it was a great suggestion is to develop an imaginary friend, if you will, and then choose a symbol and focus on that and set an intention when you go to sleep. And I can almost guarantee you that you will start to have experiences that you will remember.
Yes.
Oh,
and
cool.
Jen, let me tell you one more thing, because I take old songs and make up new lyrics that for the kids or to the kids or whatever, and that's one of my play modes. And
oh, sweet.
That's great. Okay.
Well, thank you for calling in. That was a great question, Jen. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you both. I really appreciate it. Bye.
Have a nice night.
Bye. Bye.
All right. Would you like to take another call?
Sure.
All right. Let's see. We have, this is the 210 area code. Who are we speaking with tonight?
Hey, Philip. It's Roxanne. How are you, sweetie?
Oh, Roxanne. How are you tonight?
I'm a super-duper paratrooper. Thank you for asking. And hello, Sharon. How are you this evening?
I'm excellent, Roxanne. How are you?
Oh, I am just an awesome blossom. Thank you.
Yes.
Actually, I just want to call in and offer a perspective on the negative aspect of it, of hybridization, and the reasons, one of the probabilities, and this is, again, my perspective and what I got from a few of my downloads when I was questioning this whole timeline,
Please.
is that at the vibration of the collective at the time in the 50s and, more so in the 70s when it really started coming about, the reason why it was perceived in a negative context is because that's what humanity was vibrating at the time, and that allowed them at least to entertain the idea. Because as a collective, we like bad news. Dirty laundry. Remember that song? You're showing your dirty laundry, and that attracted the attention. So in order for the collective to understand there was aliens as a mass idea, and B, they were doing something negative, but, that was just to get it into the conscience. They had to be introduced to it in some fashion where the collective as a whole, the asleep collective, so to speak, as a whole would say, okay, this is a possibility, and as it's been, transmuting to this now, it's now getting the positives, and more people that were having negative experiences are actually saying, well, you know what, it really wasn't negative. Now I remember it in a different context. It was very positive, very beautiful. So in order for that, the timeline had to come in. If it was introduced as good news and it would have been chalked up to, okay, they're nuts, bye-bye. And it wouldn't have made mainstream media type of thing.
Right.
So that's why it got in there, and now, of course, with your vibration and everyone's vibration, Sharon's vibrations, going, wait a minute, guys, let's look at this in a different perspective, and it allows those people that are viewing it in that perspective to radiate off of your wonderful vibration and now see it with a new light, raising, of course, their perspective and their ascension. So it's working perfectly. Of course, it's just in this series of nows to be collective as a beautiful thing, which it truly is. I'm so excited about it. What an awesome program that we've done to give our DNA, the most sought after DNA in all of the nows, out to the collective of infinity. Awesome. We rock.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's fantastic, Roxanne. And you're right about the exponential part. When Bridget and I created the Hybrid Children Community website, less than 2 years ago, we have more than 3,500 likes on the Facebook page. We have 860 something members of the Facebook group, and
wow.
And the thing I'm most proud of with the site and the Facebook work is how many people have been given, quote, permission to open up. I had a 70-year-old woman tell me that 40 years ago she had a pregnancy and she knew it was, quote, an alien baby, and she never told anyone. For 40 years, she never told anyone else. And she said, not even my husband. And the heart opening that is happening is just like, thank you.
Yeah, it's changing, and look what you did for her. You offered her away. Oh, that's so beautiful. I love you.
Isn't it wonderful?
I love her. I love that people, all they need is literally one sentence, and they just start, opening up beautifully, and it's it's fabulous to watch.
Oh, it sure
awesome.
is.
Good.
Sure is.
Great work, guys. Just, awesome.
What a wonderful perspective you offered us. Thank you very much, Roxanne.
Yes,
we
thank you,
appreciate
Roxanne.
it.
You're welcome, and you guys keep rocking, and I'll keep listening. I love you, too.
All right. Love you, too.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That's cool.
Love Roxanne.
Roxanne is Awesome.
Roxanne rocks.
All right. Roxanne rocks. I don't know Roxanne, but I love Roxanne.
Oh, she's great. All right. Well, we got another call here, so why don't we move into it?
Okay.
This is the 816 area code, and who are we speaking with tonight? Hi, you're breaking up a bit. 816? I'm getting a clicking from you.
Yes.
Okay. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes. Hi, who are you speaking with?
Hi, this is Philip.
Philip.
Hi, Philip.
Yeah. I called in a couple weeks ago and talked to you, Philip. I am curious about, by the way, I love your show and I love this topic and all this stuff. It's just so much fun. My question is, I'm curious about the connection between the hybrid kiddos and our kiddos here on planet Earth, specifically like my son Luca is 6, on autism spectrum disorder. And I'm just kind of curious on the connection between the kids.
That's a great question.
Yes.
Would you like to take it, Sharon?
I'll say my perspective, and then I'd love to hear yours too, Phil.
Okay.
My understanding is that the kids being born now are literally a different DNA than I am.
Right.
In my mid-60s, and they are just so far beyond where I will ever be in this lifetime. They are born that way, and so many of the diagnosed autistic kids, the Asperger's kids, that they simply are such a high vibe that they can't cope with the density. And there's a huge connection between, the hybrid kids who aren't here and the what can be considered hybrid kids who are choosing to be born here now to raise the vibration from this side. So
I'm wondering if they are because my son Luke is, and I'm very familiar with autism and why he chose to express himself this way now, and I'm curious if they are like in communication with each other in a way that maybe my son wouldn't really be able to explain to me, but is he aware of it consciously on some level?
I don't know about consciously. What do you think, Philip?
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Me either.
Because they're working at a whole different level than we are.
Mm.
Their approach to physical reality is a completely different mindset, and because of the various what we call their issues, but to them is not an issue at all, that they have been really immune to a lot of the conditioning that what I will call a typical child would have.
Right.
So basically they've been immune to all the social pressures and interactions that a typical child would get. So to me that says that would leave them wide open to much different perspectives and interpretations than what we might have. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if it's as normal as brushing your teeth, just an everyday thing for them.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say I love just the information that I've opened up myself to concerning my son, and I think the first kind of thing that I got was from Abraham at a seminar, and I love how Abraham talks about how they come and they're unsocializable. You can't. They're square pegs, and they're not going to fit in the round hole of our society, which kind of comes across as, like you said, issues at first. But in my experience, luckily for me and my son, when he was at an early age, I opened up myself to understanding him, and as soon as I did, and just showered him with unconditional love, and let him know that I wasn't here. He wasn't here to please me in any way, and how much he changed. I mean, he didn't start talking until we opened up to him in that way, and then he started, talking, and he's just so high energy. He's electric. He does this. A lot of autistic kids do something called hand flapping, and his is like, he literally, every time he gets excited, he just bends over and his arms just start kind of flailing, and it almost looks like a funny little dance.
How cool is that? I love you as a parent.
Yes.
My first experience with this whole idea was with Abraham as well, and I was, surprised. I mean, I guess I was holding a completely different belief about it, or what we'll call the typical belief about autistic children and those types of conditions. But I quickly came around, and I'm so heartwarmed to see parents like you who have, in my experience, have overwhelmingly accepted this as normal and are treating their children and have a basic understanding of what this is about, and then reacting in such a way that is of service, because not only are the children, are we parenting the children are teaching us.
Right.
That's a beautiful thing.
Philip, how old is your son?
He's 6 years old. He'll be 7 on June 17th. He was born on Father's Day.
Oh, that's great.
What's cool for me is the whole hybrid thing has been fairly new to me. Like I've been on a spiritual path for quite a while, was listening to Abraham. I started back in 2006, but just recently has been the past year where I've opened up to all these other channels, and now this hybrid thing is completely new to me now. But now it's popping up everywhere, literally. I mean, several times a day, and last night, just the synchronicity around it. I was listening to Rob's show, and I was planning on calling in, and I usually talk to my son about the same time, and he was calling me right when I turned on Rob's show, and that was exactly what they were talking about.
I love it.
And that's just one of literally it's happening to me 20 times a day, the synchronicity where either I'm thinking something or reading something and I hear the exact same word at the same time, and I'm just attributing it to the fact that I'm I've opened myself up to so much more information, whereas back, even 5 years ago, I thought I was the most open-minded person in the world, and we kind of always do. But back then, I don't even think I would have been ready to hear the kind of stuff that now it's just that's it. This is it.
Philip,
and it's so exciting.
Does your son's mother, is she interested in any of this?
She's a little bit different. She's quirky. She's actually got Asperger's syndrome.
Right.
So, and what's funny is my son is not, he's actually living with his mother right now. And from the time he was born, him and I were so close. He clung to my coattails, and I think it was because I saw something in him. And now that things are kind of I'm going in the right direction. I think he's there with his mother now to do some teaching with her.
Right. I wanted to tell you, there was a couple here in Sedona last week with a 9-month-old baby, And the wife is a hybrid mom. And when she was pregnant with the baby, she thought at first she was going to have twins, and she thought it was a boy. And she knows that there was a little boy who is a hybrid, chose to be with the baby here in the womb briefly, and then she calls him River. And she said she actually, feels as close to him as to the baby in her arms. So I assume the baby in her arms is in, constant communication with River.
Right.
That's so
cool.
Sweet. Well, Philip, I want to thank you for calling in. Did you have any parting thoughts?
No, I'm just, I'm really grateful for these type of shows and that they're happening pretty much all week now. And I look forward to talking to you some more, Philip. And thank you. I forgot your name.
Sharon.
Sharon. Thank you. Thank you guys, both of you.
Thank you.
Love to you. Thanks again for your call and a wonderful question. And what a blessing you are as a parent. And
give your son a hug for me, please.
You bet.
I sure will. I'm getting ready to call him right after this.
Okay.
All right, Philip. Thanks again.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
That was great.
Oh, man, I love the energy around this. Don't you? I just love the energy around this. The people who call.
It's so boring. Don't you think it's so boring? I don't know why I even bother,
Well, we do have let's see, we got a couple more callers on the line, so let's see. Let's take one here. This is the 202 area code, and who are we speaking with? 202, are you there?
Jen's area code.
Oh, yeah, it was. Okay, well, maybe, it still showed she had a question. Okay, we got another call here, so let's move on to that. Okay. This is the, that's 816. We just talked to Philip. Okay, so I guess we've already talked to both of them. They just have their hands up still.
Oh.
Well, I'll tell you what. How about we take this opportunity and I'll tell you about my hybrid children experience.
Yes, please. Yes, indeed.
All right. It was. This has been such a thrilling development for me, and again, I really I did have sort of a intuition that I had some involvement here, and both of these happened in the dream state, but both experiences were not dreams of the usual sort. These were where I went to bed and was immediately somewhere else. It was more like an out-of-body experience, or what people term a vivid dream. Definitely not sleeping and then you're dreaming and then you wake up. It was like immediately. I mean, I fall asleep fast, but these were just, I was out and out of my body. And the vividness of these, I don't even like to call them dreams because they were really more like out-of-body experiences. So the first one, I found myself on a street corner, and it looked like old downtown Rochester where I grew up. But I was standing on a street corner, and it was a city street, so it was a city block, and there were buildings all along and stores, and I was at the corner, so across the street from me was a corner, and I could see walking down the street. I didn't see anyone else on the street except for cars and traffic, but there was an adult walking towards me, holding a very small child in their arms, and maybe 4 or 5 other children walking with her. And they were walking towards me. And the kids were all different ages or different sizes. And as they got up, I could tell that they were there for me. They were coming to meet me. And as they got up they were coming towards me on the sidewalk towards the corner. And as they got to where they could see me and I could see them, there was a young girl who I know is my daughter. In fact, I think they were all my kids to some degree or another. But this young girl, who was probably 6 to 8 years old in human terms, the moment she saw me, she absolutely ran across the street to come and see me. And I knew as she was coming towards, there was traffic, and I was like, oh my God, you're running across the street. She just was zoom, and it was at my side, and I knew at that time, not only was this my hybrid daughter, but she was also a future self to my own daughter. Because I just recognized her energy. I just knew what it was, and my daughter is a runner, or was a runner. You know, we'd take her to the park, man, she'd be gone. Boom! And that's just what this girl was, but so much joy and so much love I could feel from her. So anyway, that was kind of the end of that, just that she came to me, and I knew who it was at that time, at that point. The second one was even more profound. This was probably, I want to say 6 months ago this happened. I went to bed, and I laid down, and boom, I was immediately in this out-of-body state, and there's actually a door wall in my bedroom. And I was out of my bed, and I was standing at the door wall, and we're on a lake here, and the door wall from my bedroom actually looks out over the lake. So I'm standing there looking, and I can see 3 spaceships, which I recognize because I have lots of spaceship-type dreams, and I recognize the formation or the configuration of these ships. They were like a bigger pod in the middle and surrounded by 4 or 5 pods, almost like you might think of the space station, the International Space Station. And there were 3 ships, and they were out across the lake from me and moving towards the house. So I'm standing there watching them, and I'm all excited, right? Because I've seen, every time I have them in my dreams now, I just get really excited. And I'm like, I'm outside. I want to be outside waving to them and everything. So I'm standing there, and I'm shouting out to the other people in the house. I'm like, hey, you got to come here. You got to see this. There's ships out there. So my companion joined me at the door wall, and I said, look at the ships out there. And my companion leaned up and whispered in my ear and said, they're here for you. Mm-hmm. And I went, whoa. And as this was happening, they actually flew over the top of the house towards the other side of the house, towards the driveway side. So I said, I'm going out on the driveway to see if I can still see them. So I went out on the driveway on the other side of the house, went through the garage, went out the driveway, and these ships, I could see them. They had passed over the house, and they went maybe a couple of streets over from us and went down. And so it looked like they were landing nearby. As this happened, all of a sudden I could see pods, like individual pods, human size, coming towards me from the ships in the air, and they were maybe 40 feet up in the air. And there was, I'm going to guess, maybe 24 or 30 of them, and they were all moving towards me, but they were 40 feet in the air, so they're floating in the air and moving towards me. And as they got above me, they kind of stopped in front of where I was, still up in the air, and as they got to that point, they formed a formation, like 3 rows of 8 or whatever it was, like this rectangular formation. And the moment they got into formation, all of a sudden, what had been solid pods all of a sudden became like this plasma fog, and they all kind of blended together. And so I'm watching them up in the air, and they're becoming this iridescent plasma, and as they did that, the whole thing started to move to the ground in front of me, maybe 15, 20 feet in front of me on the ground in my driveway. And I knew what was happening at that point. I mean, I knew I was going to meet them. Oh, I get choked up just talking about it. Oh, my God. So this plasma cloud lands on the ground in front of me, maybe 15, 20 feet away. And I was trying to remember, like, if I wanted to connect with them, I wanted to see them, and for some reason I said, oh, if I blur my vision, maybe I'll be able to see them better, because I'm not trying to look for a solid object. I'm just trying to focus on the energy of it. So I sort of blurred my vision, and I could see within this fog all these shapes running around, and they look like children. And so they're kind of moving back and forth in this fog. So I put my arms out, and I walked into it. And as I did, I could see this form in front of me, and I realized it was the same girl that I had met on the street. And I knew it was my daughter. And I had my arms out, and she reached up and touched my hand, Sharon. And when she did, it was like a lightning bolt to my heart. It just went straight up my arm, into my heart, and just blew my chest out. Yes. And it was the most loving, overwhelming, beautiful feeling I've ever experienced. And it was so overwhelming that it woke me up. And I was laying in bed, and I realized what had just happened, and I just laid there and smiled. It was just one of the most absolutely beautiful, profound experiences I've ever had. Yes. And so I've had, since I've had, I was talking about this. In fact, I told this story one night at one of our local meetups here. And there was a channeler there who sees energy and reads energy. And as I was after I finished telling the story, and of course I got choked up then too, but when I finished telling the story, she said she was standing right with you. Right. So that's my story. I'm actually, after you mentioned that you'd had a session with Treb about it, I'm going to do the same, because I would like to learn her name. Yes. And, maybe see if she has any other messages for me.
Fantastic.
But I know the children are here tonight with me. Yeah. I can feel their energy all around me and in my heart, and I know you can there too.
Yeah, my kids. Oh. My kids come and go fairly often.
How beautiful.
One of my younger boys, Jack, he came through Daryl once, briefly, and he said, cards, deck of cards. And Daryl is like spreading his hands out, and I had no idea who it was or what was going on. And anyway, he wanted me to pick a card, and I said, Jack of diamonds. He said, Jack, I will be Jack. Shiny diamonds, shiny diamonds. So it's like he says everything twice.
Oh, my gosh.
So.
Oh, isn't that beautiful?
Let me see. He's hilarious.
Now, one of the things I would like to have you tell us about, before we do that, I'm just going to mention, we do have open phone lines, so if you'd like to ask a question of Sharon, about or have a general question about the hybrid children, please call in. Our call-in number here is area code 347-308-8788. The phone lines are open. We would love to take your call. I know there's a lot of people with a lot of questions out there, or maybe you have your own experiences you'd like to share with us. Yeah. We would love to hear from you. So please call in 347-308-8788. And what I would like to ask you about, Sharon, is this hybrid children community out in Sedona. I am absolutely astounded that you folks went there and did this. This is such a wonderful, exciting thing. Please tell us about it.
Well, the concept is that when the kids arrive, they're not exactly like us, and they will need physical spaces to learn to assimilate and acclimatize to Earth and humanity. And so we humans need to create, some places for them to come, as we humans do our own vibrational work to get ready for them. But the physical aspect is also a big part of it. So we came in December. Bridget Nielsen, my website partner in Hybrid Children Community, and her father Kirk, and they had been last year around several of the sacred sites around the world, around the West and in Hawaii. We haven't been to Glastonbury or Fuji or Lake Titicaca, but there's a whole list of places that the kids might be in sync with vibrationally.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, this is Bashar himself had said Sedona will be headquarters.
Ah.
That's why we're here at the moment. I'm actually heading out, as you said at the top of the show, to do work elsewhere, both in the States and in Europe, to do workshops.
Yeah.
But they will be holding down space here, and so that's what that's all about.
Now, did you actually? So tell us the three-dimensional aspect of this. So you folks went to Sedona. You had land there, and are you building? Are you setting up a community? What exactly is this?
We don't have land yet. We have rented a house, and someday there will be land, and it will be completely sustainable, eco-friendly, growing our own food, all of that stuff that is in sync with Gaia, because she's part of the equation here.
Yes, indeed.
And this house is actually the last house on a private road that backs onto Forest Service land. So it's like this huge nature red rock backyard. So,
wonderful.
Yeah, it is wonderful.
And then, so is this in association with Harmonious Earth?
Yes, Kirk is the Harmonious Earth component, and Bridget and I are the Hybrid Children component. But it is that they're like sister concepts.
Sure. Well, it makes perfect sense, and I always speak of one with the other because to me they go hand in hand.
Yes, absolutely.
We're trying to develop new, new ecosystems, new monetary systems, new systems of living, and when I see people like you folks who are following your joy and excitement and going out and just trusting and having faith that what you need will be there when you need it.
Right.
And developing these new systems that will be ready eventually to take the place of our old systems as they fail, which all we have to do is take a look around and we can see that the majority of our major systems, political, economic, cultural systems, are completely changing. Our complete monetary system is changing. So when I see folks like you going out and on the leading edge and doing this kind of thing, it absolutely warms my heart to see you doing this, and I love you for doing it. I absolutely love the idea of bringing forth these systems, and it takes courageous heroic people, really, like yourselves, to go out and do this.
We've had our challenges.
Oh, I'm certain that you have.
It's not the nirvana yet.
No, there's no panacea there yet.
Yeah, but we all have the same concept, and so the challenges are big. We're working through them. We have worked through many of them. We're still working, of course, but we've had lots of visitors come and bring their energy and their perspective, and it is growing and expanding, and it's fun.
Oh, it's fun. Well, I'm glad you're having fun because, again, developing these new systems and really, you're leading with your intuition and your imagination and your excitement. And is there a way for people to support you who wish to be a part of this program?
Yes, absolutely. Bridget and I both do sessions on the hybridchildrencommunity.com website. There's a sessions page. She channels and does artwork of the kids. My job. She because she is an artist, and her work is fee-based, which is totally understandable and wonderful. Mine is more 3D. I like to help people learn about the kids, learn if they have any, help them, connect with them if they want to. Mine is more, I do Skype sessions.
Yes.
And mine are donation-based or free. I don't care,
Right.
I like helping people learn about the kids. That's.
And such a necessary service that you're providing at this point in time, as we're doing here tonight, is getting this information out here for the people who are looking for it.
Yes.
And, helping to overcome the fears, because God knows we're not getting much help from Hollywood, although they're getting better. But, they're still stuck in that old 70s, 80s mentality about this whole thing. And unfortunately, they're still breeding a lot of distrust for the off-world races.
Yes.
And we have people come through our Facebook groups who, and it's not that their perspective is wrong. I'm not going to say that.
Right.
But it's fear-based.
Yes, it is.
It is a fear-based perspective, and we do our best, and I know you're doing the same, to help people overcome that fear, which we all have to deal with.
Yes.
Every single one of us, because trust me, the first time you go toe-to-toe with an off-worlder, you're going to faint. You're going to faint because our energy, we have to build up our frequency to get to the point where we can interact with these beings. Otherwise, they just burn us out. They just, boom, we're out, we're gone. That's it. We're done.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not... there is no physical harm that's done. But what I'm saying is we cannot take the higher frequency of these off-world races without working to raise our own frequency, and then we can sort of meet them halfway.
Yes.
And that's a lot of what's happening. So the service that you're providing is an absolutely wonderful service, Sharon, and and so necessary at this point in time. And I'm so pleased that someone what's the words I'm looking for?
Old?
No, I wasn't looking for old. But somebody who has such peaceful wisdom about them.
Oh, thanks.
And you're very down to earth.
Yes, well, part of my job is, looking out to the kids, but also part of my job is trying to help the people who are still in fear. At one of my hybrid children workshops, this guy was sitting on the front row, and he's just like staring at me the whole time, right? While I'm talking. And so then I opened up the room, and he was like the first one to raise his hand. He says, "So, you're one of the gullible ones that are going to let them come in and take over?"
Whoops.
And I just smiled and said, "Yep, that's me." part of my job is to help people who just need one sentence to help them get over the line. You know what I mean?
Yes. Well, let's face it, people want an alternative. Nobody likes to live in fear.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to believe that catastrophe is around the corner. So if we can give them evidence and give them reassurance and show them that we're having these experiences already and that it is going to be okay and that it does serve everybody involved, then that's a wonderful service that we can provide for people.
And I actually get 3D messages from the kids.
Yes.
And I would not give anything for my dreams and what I call my dream visions with them.
Yes.
But also, it's like, when I lived in Idlewild last year, a little town in the Southern California mountains, this little cabin,
yes.
that had a chain lock on the door. And one night, I put the chain lock on. I went to sleep. I got up the next morning, and in the chain lock, vertically straight, was a feather.
Oh, my
There
gosh.
is zero way a bird came in and put that in that position, right? And my neighbor's car, if I was like really high vibe, or, actually communicating with the kids, her headlights, which the way the driveway was, shone straight into my cabin,
mm-hmm.
The headlights would start flashing at me.
Oh, boy.
One night, one of my hybrid sons came through Daryl, not Jack, this is Albion,
mm-hmm.
and talked to me for, a little while. And then Albion, I knew already, is a musician. And I stopped for gas on the way home that night. The radio was not on. And this particular car, the radio, goes off when the car goes off.
Right.
And so I went around, I started the gas. I went back to put my credit card away in the car. I opened the door, and the radio was blaring classical music.
Oh, wow.
It was, it's I've had a couple of other things, but it's like, it's such confirmation for me,
Yeah.
It's like, thanks, guys. Thanks.
Wonderful. Hey, we have another caller on the line. Would you like to take another caller question?
You bet.
Okay. This is out in my neck of the woods, the 248 area code. Who are we speaking with?
This is Susan. I've met you before at Alley Cafe.
Ah, Susan White?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm a little nervous about calling in.
I'm sorry. Maybe I shouldn't have used your last name. I apologize.
Oh, no, it's okay. I just, this is a little new to me to be asking a question, but I have so many kids in and out, here, that I just had a question, because they don't call me mother, they call me grandmother.
Ah.
I've been told I'm a grandmother. I get called Meemaw sometimes. I get called grandma. I get called grandmother Water a lot because Water has to do with my native name.
Wow.
Beautiful. Well, tell us about when you say your kids. Give us a little background. What do you mean? I know what you mean, but the other listeners may not.
Well, for me, it's not just. I believe I have had some hybrid, children, but I also believe that they bring me kids that need somebody.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I help kids who are orphaned or who just need a different experience to be with somebody who's over here.
Right.
And,
now these aren't three-dimensional children. These are
other dimensional
children.
Yeah, they're other dimensional children. Now I do have children on this side who recognize me. It happens all the time. In fact, one day a little girl about 4 years old called me by my name and had no way of ever met her before.
Oh, wow.
She started singing, "Hi, Susan, my Susan, hi, Susan." And her mom just looked at me and I said, "Oh, I work in the Head Start." And she said, "Oh, well, she goes to Waterford Head Start." And I said, and I didn't have the heart to tell her I didn't work in that one and then never met her. Yeah, that wasn't the one I worked at. So, it was just, I've had a lot of experiences like that. I've had kids step in front of me and go, "Hi." That happens to me a lot. But, the other side, you know, I'll hear somebody, and it's like, okay, here's somebody who needs you, and, you know, like Flora. Flora I had, you know, brought to me, and I helped. She was just a baby, and, you know, I don't know. I know it's kind of odd, but.
Well, how long have you been doing this, Susan?
Oh, probably several years. I mean, I first started talking to beings from other worlds probably 2005, 2004, 2005.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I've been talking to them from other worlds for a long time now.
That's great. What sort of thing do you do with the children that come?
Well, basically just love them because that's what they want.
Uh-huh.
They bring them to somebody so they can, you know, learn unconditional love. But, you know, they talk to me, and I, you know, teach them things sometimes, or they just ask me questions or things. Actually, one time I dropped a piece of candy, and I saw it disappear in midair.
Oh.
I thought I was crazy then, and then I'm like, it just disappeared. Where did it go? You know, and I watched it disappear, and I heard thank you, you know, and I'm like, okay, and I have stuff like that happens all the time. But I talk to my brother who is deceased too, so I do talk to people who have crossed back over from this our three-dimensional world into that one. You know, that way. I know that one's a little different than the other worldly beings, but I talk to both.
Right. So was there something that happened, some sort of event, and then all of a sudden you started having these types of experiences? Was it your brother? Was it communicating with him that started it, or did it kind of happen at the same time?
It actually started before that. I used to play on a role play group for Sharon Kenyon, the author that I love, and I met several people, and I met a couple of people who are like me. And I would talk to them, and, you know, I wrote a character, and it turned out the character wasn't a character after all.
Oh,
it was
wow.
Mateo, and he, you know, he was helping me write because I was dealing with something emotionally difficult at that time, and I didn't realize he was real. And so he was, you know, and he was like, well, you know, then he introduced himself. So I had several who were here that I didn't know were here. Mm. And then I just started talking to them, you know. Like I said, I talked to the other person, and I always felt like there was a door there that I didn't have open. Mm-hmm. And then it just kind of like blew open.
Wow.
And then I started talking to more and more, you know, and then I would realize there was somebody coming in and out of here, and there are doors and walls, you know. I have protection who keep, you know, things running smoothly, but it's very different. I know I talked before. Mora is here, lives here. You know, she's in and out of here, but you remember I talked about her on the Facebook page, or actually
yes.
talked.
Yeah, right.
She's not
That's
shy.
Right.
Yeah, she's not shy at all. And you know,
do you have anyone there that has anything they would like to say? Anybody around?
Well, always somebody here now. Mateo says no, not specifically. He has he doesn't really have anything to say. He says, and Mora isn't here at the moment. He's with Jamie. So that's he's, you know, I don't know. He's her mate, so. You know, a lot of people don't understand that they're not stuck there. You know, they move around.
Right.
So, you know, people don't understand that because they think, you know, it's a spirit that's right there with you. No, they move around. Mateo leaves and goes and, you know, is always in and out.
Yeah.
So,
well, you know, what I find extraordinary about what you've been telling us is that you really just kind of intuitively found your way into this without having any not knowledge, but any a background about hybrid kids or anything. You just kind of knew that this was something that was there for you.
Yeah, it was really odd the way it happened, and with the kids it was just like, okay, actually I had a friend who is deceased now, and he started calling me grandmother, and I have a friend who lives up in Manistee, and she's like, she called me granny one day, and I said, why? And she said, because you have to get used to it. And she's one of those special people. Yeah, Connie is definitely, people think she's not, but she's definitely a special person. And she can make the lightning move around and stuff. I've seen her do it.
Wow.
And, yeah, she's one of those special people, and she says, yep, you're a granny. You got to get used to it. So she was one of the first ones. Well, did you have any questions?
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, my question was, about that is there, been anybody else who's had the experience of being, kind of like a foster parent or a grandparent? And the other thing I had wanted to tell you was right before you were speaking a few minutes ago, I maybe I'm hearing things, but I could swear when you were speaking about your hybrid children, I heard a tiny voice say, "Daddy."
Oh.
Hey. I could swear I heard that, through the radio, and I was like, I heard it, and I thought, I'm crazy.
I'll take it.
I asked somebody else to that's what I heard, and
it doesn't surprise me one bit. They're all around me, and they're all around Sharon, and it sounds like they're all around you.
Yep.
So why wouldn't they communicate with us?
Yes.
Well, it was just different to hear it through the radio. I mean, I hear them all the time, I heard, can I drive? No, you can't drive. So. I heard one day one little voice, it was years ago, and he said, I'm looking out your eyeball. I said, okay. I just want to see. I said, okay. So, it doesn't scare me. It doesn't feel odd. It's just, I have a degree in early childhood. They're just babies. To me, they're all my babies.
Yeah. Well, how lovely that we have another person who is taken on this role.
Yes.
And is loving the children and enjoying it and playing with them and mentoring them. And it's like Sharon said earlier, what they keep reminding us is to play. Play,
oh,
play,
yeah, they
have
love
fun.
To sing. Yeah, they love the hokey pokey and they like songs, and and they'll say, we're having a parade. Let's have a parade. For all those kind of things, and they just love to sing and play.
Yeah, I was in the labyrinth at Angel Valley a few years ago, and it was at night. I walked in, and when I got to the center, and I pretended they were all there, and we were dancing and singing and everything. And then I was like, okay, that's it. Then I start back out from the center, and I literally could feel them all trailing behind me, and Shay was at the back making sure they all stayed in line.
Aww.
I could hear them. It was so fun.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, Susan, thank you so much for calling in and sharing with us. It was wonderful hearing from you, and gosh, it's so heartwarming for me to hear someone like you who's been doing this and is involved with the kids. And thank you for everything you do. We love you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for listening to me. And I mean, is there anybody else who's had the foster parent kind of experience?
My friend Liz doesn't think she has any kids, but kids appear to her in dreams all the time, and often they're my kids. So
I have dreams that I'm saving children all the time. Dreams that I'm going to other places and they're handing me kids and I'm taking them out of danger. It's weird. I get them all the time.
Good. I mean, thank you. Yeah.
Well, thank you for everything you're doing, Susan. Thank you for calling in and listening, and have a wonderful night.
Yes.
Thank you. Have a wonderful night, too.
All right. Love to you.
Love to you, too. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
I love the whole kid thing. And one woman I know said that she was at a girls' tumbling class one day, like,
yes.
Spotting or whatever you do. And she said one little girl kicked another little girl in the head on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And the one who got kicked stood up and said, "This is why I came to Earth."
Oh my God, that's funny.
But like Susan, I've had, I'll be on the beach doing my exercises, and the little girl came up to me and just stood there till I finished my exercises. Then she put her hand in mine and just stood there. She never said a word.
Aww.
So bizarre.
Oh my. Well, I just want to mention we've got time for maybe one, maybe two more calls. We've got an open line right now. If you'd like to call in right now, area code 347-308-8788, and we're going to start to wrap this up a little bit. Is there anything that we didn't talk about yet tonight, Sharon, that you'd like to focus on or put some attention on?
For people to know the kids are real, that they really are lovely. They're lovely kids. They're lovely children. And to open up to, the reality, the possibility of meeting them, and that I don't know, Phil. This is like, I get so worked up about it because they're so cool.
It is, and it's so exciting.
I do want to say, the website that Bridget and I have is hybridchildrencommunity.com. There's also a Facebook page that's Hybrid Children Community. That's a Facebook group. And I also want to mention galacticfamilies.com.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
That another site that is not specifically for the hybrid kids, but is for all the other, the kids and the civilizations, a lot of other civilizations. Awaken Within, Alexandra Alexandrov, Eric, however you pronounce his last name, sorry. And they Awaken does drawings of the beings she meets.
Oh, beautiful drawings.
Incredible.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful drawings.
So I also work with them as well as with Bridget. So there are two wonderful sites. There's a woman in Holland who has a hybrid children site. It's in Dutch, but, she's doing her work. She does workshops as well. The workshops I'm going over to do in June with a different set of Dutch people.
Yeah.
They do the three workshops. One is about coaching children in metaphysical concepts. One is about the hybrids specifically. And the one in Norway is a 2-week for human star kids, the kids who don't feel like they fit in on Earth. And I'm really looking forward to all three of those.
Oh my gosh, what an amazing journey that sounds like.
Yes.
Wow.
Fun.
So there was one thing I wanted to mention, that there are actually forms of hybrid children or certain types of hybrid children that are already living on Earth. Is that not so?
That's my understanding.
Yeah.
And adults.
And adults.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about myself, but I've certainly had that sense that I run into people all the time that are not of this earth.
Yes.
Or at least not completely.
Wait. Do you feel like you're one of them?
Do I?
Mm.
I came in, I always knew that there was something big that I was supposed to do.
Okay.
Or that I was going to be doing.
Okay.
I think I was sort of at the very beginning, perhaps, of that maybe I was there to help lead the way.
Right.
That's my sense, and I'm sure that you feel like that as well.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, things have definitely been different for me. I mean, I always knew that whatever I focused my attention on, I was going to do wonderfully at.
Right.
You know, there was never any question about that if I put my focus into something that I could excel at it. So in that sense, I always felt very blessed. And so coupling that with this feeling that I had that I was meant to be here to be a part of something much bigger than myself.
Yeah.
And then to finally realize that only 5 years ago, to really finally realize what that was. And of course, I still don't know completely what it is, Sharon. I'm just following the bouncing ball here, but it's all working out very easily, and so far, so good.
Yeah.
And I'm having fun at it, and that's the most important thing.
Yes, it is. Yep.
Well, I've absolutely loved having you on tonight. We're almost at 10 minutes to. I've got a few closing announcements just for our upcoming shows.
Sure.
Sharon, I want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for coming on tonight. It was a fantastic show. My kids here are just thrilled. I know your kids there have to be thrilled as well.
They are.
And hopefully we've moved the collective energy of the earth up just a notch more to bring this all closer to being.
I trust we have, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Oh, it's been such a pleasure. And I do want you to come back and visit us after you complete your European journey.
Oh, that'd
and
be fun.
Fill us in and let us know how things are going.
Yeah, terrific.
Wonderful.
Great.
Well, stand by here. I'm going to read a few closing announcements, and then I'll chat with you a little bit after the show.
Terrific. Thank you, Philip.
Thank you. All right. Wow. What a fantastic show, if I do say so myself. Yahoo. I just couldn't be happier. I've been looking forward to this show since I was inspired with the idea to have Sharon on, and when Sharon said she would, I knew it was going to be tremendous. It's as if it played out before it ever happened. I just knew how much wonderful energy there was going to be behind this, and it certainly did not disappoint me. And I'm so pleased for everyone that's tuned in tonight. So, upcoming shows. Next Thursday night, let me find my notes here, because I'm completely lost in my energy, folks, completely. All right. Upcoming shows. Next week, we're going to have a very special guest from our Consciousness Evolution 2.0 Facebook group, Linda Weatherford Papa, which anyone who hangs out with us crazies over there at CE2 knows Linda, and she is just one of the most extraordinary people I know. She posts regularly in her group. She has a diversity of background like no one I've ever met. She's been from homeless to a bank exec to everything in between. She's had past lives as a Pony Express rider, and her experiences within this plane have been so diverse that I'm thrilled to have her on. Look forward to that. May 15th, we're going to have Ruth Elan, an open channel and author of the Psychic Broadband page on Facebook and her website, an amazing channeler and renderer, and she's going to be on May 15th. I'm running out of time, so I'm going to rush through this. May 22nd, join me and the King, Rob Goff, here from the Enlightenment Evolution Hour. He'll be joining me on the show to channel Treb and maybe Ardif, so that's on the 22nd. And then on the 29th, my special guest is Amy Bacon, a psychic reader and energy reader local to us here in Michigan. Amy and I met shortly after my awakening in 2009, and I have the pleasure with working with her. She's going to be on May 29th. So we've got great shows coming up. Folks, thank you all for tuning in. I love you all from the bottom of my heart. My love to you. Thanks again, Sharon. My deep felt gracious love to you.
And mine back.
And everyone have a wonderful night. We'll see you next Thursday. Bye-bye.
Bye.